I now call to order this special meeting of the King George County Service Authority Board of Directors. We'll start with an invocation by Ms. Binder, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance by Mr. Miller. Please stand as you're able.
Please, Lord, take care of all of our citizens on this fine summer day and help us make the best decisions for the county and the customers of the Service Authority. Amen. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Miller, are there any amendments to the agenda?
No, sir.
We'll move on to public comment. I'm going to read the statement, but I'm going to note that we do have two public hearing items, and we will pause between those to take comments on those specific items. So the first public comment here is just something, if you have a general statement you want to make, feel free to do so, but comments will be limited to 3 minutes per person in order to afford everyone the opportunity to speak. If comments relate to a specific public hearing item, we ask that you offer those comments at the time of the public hearing. So we will pause after the public hearing items if you want to speak on those specifically. Are there anybody that wants to make any initial comments? Anybody online? All right, moving on. Do you want to? If you want, you can take the podium right there behind you, so that we can get your statements on record. Just please state your name and where you live. And
good evening. My name is Kathy Marquis. I live in Hopyard Farm, 6383 Brewery Court, King George, Virginia. My husband and I have lived here for 4 years, and I'm sorry to say that since Mr. Wheatley left, I've lost some interest in the water situation for the county, but I'm feeling the need that I need to be more involved now. So I did have a couple of comments, and I'll make it quick. Cut me off if you need to. I guess my one question to begin with would be, is the county actively pursuing the hire of a general manager for the Service Authority?
Yeah, it's
you don't answer. I ask questions.
You can ask questions, and we can get you information about it at a later time.
Okay. Okay. There was a mention or discussion. I don't know what the status is of it right now. Proposing merger of Service Authority with the King George County and creation of Department of Public Works. That was at a work session on 3/22/22 with the King George Board of Supervisors and the King George Service Authority Board of Directors joint work session. So I was just wondering what the status of that is. Also, previously, I thought it had been approved for the CAMSTRUP. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that correctly. KAMSTRUP water meter replacement program to be purchased by the county and used, which would include 4,350 new meters being replaced. And I wasn't sure if that had been completed yet. And if so, because to my knowledge, it hasn't been, because we were told that you would be able to monitor your water in your home in terms of leaks and things like that. Okay, and also when Mr. Wheatley was here, he's brought forward a proposal to the Service Authority of a pilot program for sewer relief, the sewer fee relief for irrigation. And that was a slide presentation that was done November 19, 2020. And I would somehow like to know what the status of that is. Number 4. And with the muni billing system in place, we were told that there would be a possibility of being billed monthly, not every 2 months, because the rationale for having to be billed every 2 months was that there wasn't enough staff to be able to go around the county to be able to do that in a timely fashion. But when we got the new muni billing system, we were told that that could be done without, it would save time, and it would also save dollars in reading the meters. And so I was wondering if that is still something that the Service Authority is considering because that would help people that are on a fixed income and qualify for extra help. So, thank you.
Is there anyone else in the audience that would like to make any more comments? Is there anybody online, Mr. Dines? All right. We will then move on to our reports of members of the board. Ms. Binder?
I have no report at this time.
Ms. Kupka?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to thank everyone for joining us this evening. And Ms. Markey, did I get that right? I did write down your questions, and whether it's members of the board or in combination with staff, we'll get answers for you. Thank you, ma'am.
Mr. Morris?
No report, but Ms. Kupka maybe have a thought here. These questions have popped up from time to time, and we have answered them, and we have addressed these different issues. I'm wondering if there's some way we could possibly, whether it's on the website or whatever, list these questions. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we can.
These are the same questions that come up when.
Yeah, we could
I'm
definitely,
talking with the public.
Mr. Miller, if you could look into that, maybe getting a frequently asked questions section on the website. Maybe we have it, or maybe we just may need to make it more visible. But because these are some more questions that did crop up.
Yes, sir. We'll have a conversation with our public information officer, Ms. Southall, and something that we could put together a pretty detailed list and a comprehensive address of these things that come up. Yes.
That'd be great. Anything else, Mr. Morse? And my report, I live in Hop Yard, so feel free to after the meeting, catch me, or you'll find me on Facebook too on the Hop Yard webpage. But I live right on Hop Yard Drive, so feel free to ping me. I try to answer when I see them, all the questions that crop up on the Facebook page. But I don't monitor it 24/7. So feel free to ping me after the meeting, and I'll answer what I can or get you what you need. We appreciate people being interested and coming to speak with us. So, and we have no problem answering questions that people have. And it's brought up a good idea. So we do appreciate that.
Yeah, please never apologize for asking questions. I mean, if you have a question, it means we haven't gotten the information out, or it hasn't gotten to you, and we need to get the information. If you have questions, I'm sure others do. So we'll see what we can do about addressing that.
And with that, there's no consent agenda, and we'll move into the reason we're primarily here is the public hearing items. So we'll start off with the proposed rate increase for fiscal year 2023-2024. Ms. Holland?
Up in front of you are the proposed rates for fiscal year 24, and it also compares to the rates in the current year that ends on Friday. The water consumption fee up to 10,000 gallons going from $5.61 per 1,000 gallons to $6.17. Wastewater consumption fee up to 10,000 gallons from $13.08 to $14.39 per 1,000 gallons. Water consumption fee 5/8 meter and above 10,000 gallons, going from $6.40 to $7.04 for each 1,000 gallon. Wastewater consumption fee 5/8 meter above 10,000 gallons from $14.22 to $15.64. The water debt user fee from $40.41 to $44.45. That's a flat fee per bill, as is the sewer debt user fee from $65.97 to $72.57 per bill. The capital reserve fee, we left the same at $2.48. A minimum bi-monthly residential bill currently is $164.92. That would go up to $181.41, and that's based on 3,000 gallons. And the average bi-monthly residential bill is $295.76, going to $325.34. That's based on 10,000 gallon usage. And I know this slide is a little bit small, but what this is the other, like septic disposal fee, unusual water fee, the utility account deposits, tampering fees, unmetered connections. That's the only thing that's changed, and unmetered, all the rest above there stays the same as in the current fiscal year. The unmetered connection goes along with the average bill, going from the $295.76 to the $325.34. And that's for water and sewer, water only. And I can't even read that bottom line, but it's going from, I think it's at
98.95 to 108.85.
85. And then the sewer only going from 199.27 to 219.20. And then the water, the fire suppression availability fee, water and water debt fee, those remain the same. The minimum bill rate increase for minimum bill is $16.49. That's based on the 3,000 gallons. Average bi-monthly rate increase, $29.58. Connections projections for fiscal year 24, 50 with water sewer, 0 water only, 0 commercial. The 10% rate increase is applied across the board to consumption fees and debt service fees. Rate increase is based on the operation needs for the service authority. This increase is effective July 1 and will be reflected on the September 2023 utility bills. And I'll pause there for any questions. Well, this is for the members of the board. I'm sorry. After they're done.
Is there any questions of the?
I do, because I've had several residents and those on the water system ask me this question the last couple of days. And so if we could give a good answer, maybe some in the audience would like to know this question is, we have all these rate increases, but the whole reasoning behind the debt fee also going up with the rates.
So and Mr. Miller can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but the debt fee is going up because our loans aren't a steady payment. A lot of people think they are, but they are not a steady payment. They are actually balloon payments, and they actually increase the actual debt service fee this year is $85,000 more than it was last year because they don't hold the payments aren't steady. They're steady for a certain number of years and they start going up. So the debt service fee is to make sure we're covering those payments. The rates, the repayment on those loans just doesn't hold flat. It stair steps at intervals.
I think that's correct. The other aspect is that Ms. Hahn and I looked at a variety of ways to try to do this. I think you had all instructed us to come back and look at some other ways of putting the rate increase that's associated with the new operation of the wastewater and the water systems from the private contractor, and we looked at ways to hold the debt service fee down, but the recommendation in the numbers just worked where it was just a flat, straight across the board increase. We certainly tried to do what the board had asked us to do, but it just was going to be there was going to be some holes, and you might even have had to do some different things with the regular rates. And I think the board wanted to just keep that as a flat 10%, is my understanding.
All right, thank you for explaining that for the audience.
Are there any other questions of the board? All right, well, we will pause then, and we'll take comments from the members of the public, specifically on these rates, on the rate increase, because there's an operating budget also discussion, which will be next, and we'll take a pause and do that for public comment. So if there's anybody who wants to make some comments on the rate increase, same rules apply. It's a three minutes per person, so everybody can speak. When you get up, speak at the podium. Please just state your name, where you live, and then let us know your thoughts.
I'm Alice Ostiff. I live in Potomac Landing, and I guess in every household, you know, we all do our budget, we all pay our credit cards, and I still don't understand why this debt ceiling keeps going up. I mean, I've been here 23 years, and this is just unbelievable to me. It's almost like the government. It just seems like we keep spending money, and we don't pay our bills. My question for you, all of you, and something that have always asked myself is, there's approximately 9,400 households here in King George. Now, that's a combination, from what I saw on the website, it didn't break it down, from county water and well water. The folks that use well water also enjoy the same amenities that I enjoy and all of you enjoy, and that's the restaurants, the library, the schools, grocery stores, but yet they don't pay into the debt, though they do enjoy those things. And I'm not understanding why somebody just doesn't put their foot down. It's not a popular topic to say everybody pays $100 bi-monthly for the debt. If you do that and you pay $100 every other month, that's $600. You can all do the math. And we would be at close to $5 million a year. We would get this debt under control, because I can just foresee now that in the next 20 years, we're still paying on the debt. I mean, this is ludicrous to me, how we can even continue to do this. And it seems like, as you've all noted and said, that it increased all the time because of a balloon payment. I mean, this is going to go on and on and on, probably after I'm dead and gone, and my kids will still be paying on this debt. It makes no sense. It's like having a mortgage and never paying the mortgage. And then I hand the house over to my kids and they're still paying on the interest on the mortgage. So those are my comments. I'm just very disappointed that there aren't more people in the county that are here. Very, very disappointed. I thought it'd be so crowded. We came here early to get a parking spot, and I'm very disappointed. It's just an indication either people don't care or they think, well, if I come, nothing's going to be done, which is the attitude a lot of people have in our neighborhood. Why should I bother? Nothing will be done, and we'll continue to pay.
Well, thank you for your comments. Is there anyone else who would like to make comments at this time associated with this rate? Yeah, go ahead.
Kathy Markey, 6383 Brewery Court, King George, Virginia, 22485. I was wondering if you would be able to give us the balance on the debt fee now. And I know you can't give it to me right now, but also I noticed, and unless I've missed something, which is possibly true, that the rate sheet that we were given for 5 years, the 2020, let me make sure I'm quoting this properly. The 23-24 fiscal year did not match the increases that are going to be occurring July the 1st, do not match those figures that we were previously given. I just was trying to understand that. So, okay, thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that would like to speak in the audience? Is there anyone online? All right, we will close public comment on the rate increases, and we will start discussion on the proposed operating budget. Ms. Hahn, back to you.
So the Service Authority has two major budget categories, water and sewer. The water proposed budget for fiscal year 24 is $1,945,998. Sewer proposed budget, $4,319,522. Transfer to capital debt service projects reserves, $1,908,108. So for total expenditures of $8,173,628. This is an increase from fiscal year 23 of $738,364. The sewer increase was an increase of $907,595. The key focal points there is operations contract for sewer results in increased costs over previous operations, and our electric utility costs have increased by a considerable amount to operate the plants. This shows you the expenditure summary. If the biggest portion you'll see is for the sewer. That is, and for those who can't read those numbers, that's 53% of the budget is for the sewer department. The blue up in the upper right corner, that is 24% for the water department. 18% is for the debt service, and the small little piece in purple there is for transfers and reserves. The revenues, the total revenues based on the proposed rate increases is $8,173,628, an increase, the same increase of the $738,364. This shows you the breakout of the amount of funds that will be generated by the different pieces here. $1,894,067 for water fees, $2,373,832 for sewer fees, water debt fees, $1,438,596, sewer debt fees, $1,170,187, debt water connection fees, $198,450, sewer connection fees, $208,300. Water availability, $176,550. Water connection fees, $58,100. Sewer availability fees, $292,750. Then sewer connection fees, $58,100. Penalties, $82,118. Account service fees, $34,000. Bulk water sales, $12,000. Tower lease fees, $24,000. Transfer from the general fund, and so this, for those in the audience, from the general fund means from the county, of $85,038, and capital reserve fees of $67,540. And this is a representation of the different percentages. Of course, the biggest percentage is from the sewer fees, 29%, and the water fees is the upper right corner, 23%, and debt water fee, 18%, sewer fee is 14% there. And then the other smaller things like capital reserve, transfer from the county, account fees, penalties are all smaller percentages there. And I'll pause there.
So do any of the board of directors here have any questions for Ms. Hahn on the budget?
Yes, Mr. Chair. So could staff perhaps highlight, for the benefit of all, the increased operational costs, such as staffing, electricity, chemicals, things like that, and just kind of give a broad overview? Thank you.
Do you want me to? Or you?
The reason that you're seeing a slight increase, I mean, it's an increase to the operations, is the decision the board made to outsource the operation of the water and the wastewater services. For a number of years, the board had been dealing with a lot of attempts to try to hire people, retain quality people, address the concerns that the Department of Environmental Quality, the Virginia Department of Health have had about the operation. And so the decision was made to bring in a private contractor who has a 3-year contract, and they are essentially doing the operation of our 5 wastewater plants, and then the 9 well systems that we have. The board retained its maintenance department under Mr. Eisenbeis, who is coordinates with the private contractor. I think although obviously it's an adjustment to the rates, I think that what factor into that decision, I'm not going to certainly speak for the board members, but I think what influenced their decision was the idea that you're going to bring some of the regulatory expenses that have been historically the problem for this organization under control. You're going to be able to start complying better with the Department of Environmental Quality and the Virginia Department of Health's concerns, and you're going to be able to have your operations continue in a more sustainable and a more consistently improved manner. So I think what the hope is that you will start to see your operating costs level off, and you'll start to see that things are working very effectively. And some of these things that we're getting $200,000 and $300,000 consent issues that we have to deal with from the Department of Environmental Quality, those things are going to go away. They're going to start to disappear, and that the organization is going to be, it's the water and sewer services are going to be operated under a much better. But that's kind of the general overview. And I think in terms of specifics, Ms. Hahn can give you the numbers. You don't have the, okay. So I think if you want to go back to the breakout, that previous slide.
So I can kind of point out a couple of things. So the 738,000 total increase, about from memory, and Ms. Hahn can get kind of clean this up at a later date. $300 and something thousand of that is the Bowden contract. That's the private contractor. But about $400,000 of that is just things that have gone up because of inflation, unfortunately. So a couple examples that I remember off the top of my head: the debt service fee went up about $85,000. So that jumped. There was about $80,000 more to repair wells. We have to repair about 2 wells a year, and they're deep. They cost a lot of money to fix. They went up somewhere around $40,000 a piece. And our power bill went up about $80,000. That's just Dominion billing us. So there was a number of items that jumped. Chemicals are more expensive. There's a number of items that jumped. So about $300 and something thousand of that was from Bowden. A good portion of it was from just things that went up because of inflation that we have to pay for and budget for. Are we going to replace 2 wells this year? Hopefully not. But we could replace 2 wells this year, and we have to have that in the budget. That's kind of on average what happens. And we have to have the money there to do it. Unfortunately, it's kind of expensive to do those things. None of that stuff's cheap. So that's kind of the overview. I know Ms. Hahn could probably at a later date, maybe we post that somewhere, kind of the highlights of the differences, so people can understand that it was in. If you look back on our budget work sessions that are there, you will see that. You'll see the breakdown, but we could highlight that, I believe, for the public.
If I could also add, so you have 5 wastewater plants. That's a lot of wastewater plants. The 2 of those plants, one in Oakland Park and one in Perkins Corner down the road here, those are scheduled to go offline if everything works out in the next 10 years, in the next 5 to 10 years. The first one that we are working on is the Perkins Corner, which is down here. And it's just reached its useful life, and it needs to just be what's known as decommissioned. Taking those 2 plants offline is going to save a tremendous amount of money for this county over time in energy costs and maintenance costs and personnel costs, because they'll essentially consolidate most of the operations towards the hop yard plant, which is under capacity right now because the plan was always to increase its capacity. So once those 2 projects come off, those 2 systems come offline, then you're looking at a potential that this organization would save even more money. I think the other thing is keep in mind there's 9 well systems too. And that's a lot of systems. That's a pretty labor intensive operation when you get right down to it. Couple things that are very important for the future of this service authority. One is the service authority, and this board is obviously working very diligently on it. It's just kind of behind the scenes, if you will, to get off of the groundwater, to get onto surface water. This is a plan that is in the works to try to look at alternatives like Caroline County, Stafford County, maybe looking at some private sources as well. Those kind of things will change the nature of the service authority significantly. You won't have, you'll consolidate your maintenance operations into a water treatment plant as opposed to having 9 different well systems that your operators have to go to every day or every couple days, or your maintenance folks have to go and repair wells and pumps and things like that. So those kind of things are going to start to become things that address some of those concerns about escalating costs and things like that. The other aspect of that decommissioning project that I mentioned at Perkins Corner and also the one in Oakland Park is eventually when those projects are taken offline and the sewer or the wastewater is diverted now to Hop Yard, at the same time, we're going to be putting in water lines that will interconnect a number of our systems to provide more reliability, more redundancy, if you will, and can meet the needs of this county. And so there's a number of things that obviously don't show up necessarily in the budget every year. I mean, I think I will just speak. I don't know that I have to speak for my board, but they're a very good board. They're very diligent. They're very concerned. This was not an easy decision to just come in and say, okay, let's increase our rates. I mean, that's not at all the case. They were very concerned about it. I know they still are. They still very much are wanting this organization to succeed, as opposed to the alternative, which is turn it over to a private source. And then you don't have, coming and talking about your rates is out the door. I mean, if you're going to go and have an Aqua, or Virginia America Water or something like that running your system, you don't really have a lot of say in the matter of when those rates start going up and up and up. So this board's very diligent about it. And I think that, they understood that this was a heck of an impact. And it was a big step for, and I think that all of the staff, it was a hard decision. It involved some transitions of some folks, but I think in the end, they made the best decision. And I think that they're to be applauded for it. And I know it's a hard decision to increase rates on people, especially for folks that maybe don't even, that aren't on the system. The board members that represent the entire county, but they also maybe are more representative of people that are not on the system, and they don't have to pay a monthly rate. But those folks, yes, they do utilize the services of the county that are on the water system, but you have to, water and sewer rates are like electric rates. If you are connected to it, you pay. If you're not connected to it, you can't ask somebody to pay. And so, believe me, we're looking at all those kind of situations.
Mr. Parker? I just want to point out to the folks that something that happens that you don't realize happens behind the scene is what we pay for fire insurance on our home is dependent on the rating from the insurance industry. A big, major component of that is the water delivery system. So every improvement we can make to the water delivery system, every new mile of water main we put in, every new fire hydrant we put in, every time we interconnect a system, the next time Chief Moody applies for a reevaluation by the ISO office will have an effect on what we pay in insurance rates. So it's kind of a backdoor thing, but it does have an effect on us. And we're paying some here, but we're gonna be saving here on our fire insurance. Thank you.
One thing I want to address is there's been many questions about the consent orders we've received from DEQ and violations. Well, a lot of people don't realize that we are one of the most heavily regulated areas in the United States, and it's because of the Chesapeake Bay. And with that comes a lot of mandates from the state and the federal government on nutrient levels that we have to meet, even though we are a tiny system, and we don't get a lot of help. They impose the rules, and we have to find out a way of matching these nutrients. And we have had some consent orders recently about violating those because it is very hard for a small system to meet those limits, it's costly. Thankfully, we have received ARPA funds recently that might pay for some of these, the interconnection and the decommissioning of the two plants, and we thank the state for sending money our way, understanding we're in this position we're in, but we're not alone. There are other small service authorities that have these same problems. And we're all of our board members the best to try to find solutions, but there's not a lot of solutions, especially when you're heavily regulated. Thank you.
Do we have any other comments? All right. Since there's no more comments from the board, we'll take public comment on the proposed operating budget, if there's any. Are there any members of the public in the audience here that would like to speak on the budget? Seeing none, Mr. Dines, is there anybody online? Okay, so with that, we will close public comment for all items tonight, and we will move on to the action items. And the first one is the adoption of the fiscal year 2022-2023 rates and regulation amendments.
Yes. Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the board. During the fiscal year 2023-2024 budget planning process, it was determined that a rate increase would be necessary to cover the rising costs of operations. These rates are amended in Regulation Section 30, which was provided to you in your packet. At this time, my recommendation is to adopt the fiscal year 2023-2024 rates and regulations as presented.
I'll look for a motion.
I'll move adoption of the fiscal year 2023-2024 rates and regulation amendments as presented.
Second.
I have a motion made and seconded. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Chair votes aye. Motion carries. We are adopting the fiscal year 2023-2024 rates and regulations as presented. Moving on to the adoption of the fiscal year 2023-2024 Service Authority operating budget. In your board report, the summary of the King George County Service Authority budget for fiscal year 2023-2024 includes the proposed rate increases, adopted revenues, charges for services, $8,088,590, non-revenue receipts, $85,038, for a total revenues of $8,173,628. And the adopted expenditures, the water department, $1,945,998, sewer department, $4,319,522, reserves fund balance, $350,300, transfers and reserves, $152,578, debt service, $1,405,230, for total expenditures of $8,173,628. And with that, I recommend that the board adopt the fiscal year 2023-2024 budget in the total amount of $8,173,628.
I make a motion to adopt the FY 2023-24 budget in the total amount of $8,173,628.
Second.
I have a motion made and seconded. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Chair votes aye. Motion carries. We adopted the fiscal 2023-2024 budget in the amount of $8,173,628. And moving on to the last action item, the resolution for appropriation of fiscal year 2023-2024 King George County Service Authority operating budget.
In your board packet, there was a resolution included that sets out the Service Authority's operating budget by function for fiscal year 2023-2024. And the recommendation is to adopt the resolution for the appropriation of fiscal year 2023-2024 King George County Service Authority operating budget as presented.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion made and seconded. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carries. We've adopted the resolution for appropriation of the fiscal year 2023-2024 King George County Service Authority operating budget as presented. And they'll take one more motion.
I'll make a motion to adjourn to July 11th, 2023 at 5:30 PM in the Robert H. Combs Boardroom.
Second.
I have a motion made and seconded. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Chair votes aye, motion carries. We are adjourned to July 11th, 2023 at 5:30 PM in the Robert H. Combs Boardroom.